Hey, it's me again. We're going to talk about evaluation again. Here's another example. We're going to take a look at this 35-year-old female, just like you would, a mechanic would look at an engine dysfunctioning or an engineer would look at a problem. Only in medicine do they separate everything out and they're over-specialized. They treat each thing separately. They treat it. They don't take all the data. They don't look at the body as a whole. They don't understand what symptoms mean in the body. They're just like suppressed. So medicine has become the management of symptoms. So we're going to just dissect her data. Number one, she has daily headaches, high pulse rate, high systolic blood pressure. That's the top number of the blood pressure is high. Rash, can't tolerate sun, dry skin, fatigue. And then we put all the symptoms in this digestion bucket here. Irritable bowel, bloating, needs magnesium to eliminate, burping, pain on the left side of her shoulder, back, and neck, nausea, floating stool, gallbladder removed. Then we have libido is down. She took estrogen, or she's taking estrogen for fertility. And Hashimoto's, kale, makes her hair fall out. It's thyroid, adrenal, red cheeks, puffy eyes, sleep, allergies, nervous. All right, so now let's just look at this thing. The thing that jumps out to me is the most problems are in this digestive thing. Now, bloating, burping, that's gallbladder symptoms, but she had a gallbladder removed. So it's still a deficiency of bile. So we know we have a deficiency of bile, okay? But typically, that problem is going to cause pain on the right side of the shoulder and neck, not the left. So she has left-sided shoulder, and it kind of wraps right around the back, and that would mean that's pancreas. So that's a pancreatic problem. So let's write this down. Pancreatic insufficiency. That's the kind of, that would create these symptoms, because the pancreas, if it swells up or if it works too hard, it will irritate the tissue right around the pancreas, which there's a little nerve called the phrenic nerve. It's on both sides, but on the left side, and it goes right up to your right shoulder, right up through here. So the pancreas. Now let's take a look at pancreatic insufficiency. What does that mean? The pancreas makes enzymes, so it also regulates insulin. But if it's not making all the enzymes, which makes sense, because if she has a gallbladder problem, she's not going to actually have a really, really healthy pancreas. They both work together in the digestive tract. So whatever she ate in the past that destroyed that gallbladder is probably also made the pancreas weak as well and depleted the enzymes. But the symptoms for pancreatic insufficiency are very similar to low bile. Very similar. So right here, nausea, that could be the pancreas. The stool that floats, that could be a pancreatic insufficiency, because you're not able to release enough lipase, that's fat enzymes. So when bile comes in there and breaks down the fat, lipase from the pancreas dissolves that fat even further down to a stage where you can digest it. So this could easily be pancreatic insufficiency right here. And so could nausea, so could pain on the left side, and irritable bowel, because you're going to have a lot of inflammatory issues as well if you don't have the enzymes. That's one thing. Now let's just take a look at, let's see here, rash. That could be another symptom. Can't tolerate sun. Well, this is really a low vitamin K deficiency, because, see, sun gives you a lot of vitamin D, but if you don't have vitamin K, that can create a symptom of vitamin D toxicity, okay, which is like, almost like it's like sun is toxic to you. But because she doesn't have a gallbladder, we know that she doesn't have enough of the bile to absorb some of these fat-soluble vitamins. So she's getting, she might just basically get all the sun on the skin and go in, but she's not getting all the other vitamins to balance it out. So this can relate to this bile thing right here. Dry skin, well, that just indicates that she's not absorbing some of the oils and the fats in the skin because she doesn't have the bile. So that's interesting. And then right here, Hashimoto's. Let's try to figure that out. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune. In autoimmune, there is some data on enzyme deficiencies and autoimmune, but I don't know if that relates. But I do know that if the adrenal is too stressed, they can get autoimmune of pretty much any organ. But I would like to, before I evaluate this, I'd like to get a history of when that started, what happened just before it, was there a stress event, or was there something, was it that they took the gallbladder out? So I can't really know that. Kale makes her hair fall out. Well, that's too much kale, and some people can block, it can block iodine, and that can affect, especially if she already has a thyroid issue, she probably needs to be taking iodine. But look at this. She's taking estrogen. Decreased libido. This is estrogen dominance. See, the thyroid, it's very rare to have a primary thyroid. The thyroid is usually influenced by three things. One, a lack of bile, because T4 is converted to T3 through the liver. That would make a lot of sense. Or it can come from high estrogen. So we have two things that can cause that. Or it could be the adrenal as well. So it could be any one of those things. So what I would do with this case is I would just take one thing. I would support the pancreas first, then the bile, and then see how many of these things clear up. Because, for example, high pulse rate, that's the heart working harder, probably because she doesn't have the fat-soluble vitamins to transport the minerals and calcium around, and see if that doesn't just clear these things out right here. So that's the first thing I would try, and then I would support the adrenals, and then I might, recommend that she does an alternative for this estrogen thing, because there's too many side effects with estrogen. So I would just take the most likely thing first, address that, and then the next one, boom, 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 to see what's going to really clear out most of these issues. But it looks to me that if her digestion's better, she'll be converting more thyroid hormones, she'll be able to detoxify estrogen better from her body, and she'll be able to absorb more nutrients. She's going to have to take some bile extract for the rest of her life because she doesn't have a gallbladder, purified bile salts. But to support the pancreas and get rid of all these things, that would probably give her a huge relief and allow her to sleep, take the stress off the adrenals. So that's where I would start first. All right, so that's just kind of I'm just talking out loud, but that's how I would take a look at this case.